Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today I have with me the amazing and beautiful Holly Sullivan. Holly, thank you so much for being on. Shake my hand. There we go. All right, we're going for a ride. We're going to Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford, Connecticut, so pretty in the fall.
At least it's not that going for us, right?
I know, right?
Hartford's pretty in the fall.
It is pretty in the fall. Did you ever have to learn the states and capitals and learn that song?
Oh yeah, I know it all by heart.
Hartford's in Connecticut, so pretty in the fall.
Oh no, I don't know that one. I know the one.
No?
They taught us one in 3rd or 4th grade that stuck with me my whole life.
50 United States from 13 original colonies.
No, I don't know that one either. So I'm missing out. But I do know the states in alphabetical order. So Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia. So like we had to learn that, and it's been with me, and I've used it more times than trigonometry or Pythagorean theorem. Like that's stuck with me since elementary school.
Oh, that's cool. I've been a band teacher for 100 years, and at one point I had to teach 4th grade kids the states and capitals, and I used the Animaniacs version.
Oh, cool. I love Animaniacs.
It was Turkey in the Straw, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Columbus is the capital of Ohio. There's Montgomery, Alabama, South of Helena, Montana, then there's Denver, Colorado.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's such a throwback. I haven't thought about Animaniacs in 20 years.
Totally.
Get off the bus. I loved it.
Well, hey, speaking of Animaniacs and the states and capitals, that is a great segue because you are with the DC Project, which is a woman from every state that gets together to go down to Washington, D.C. to talk to politicians about gun stuff. So let's talk some gun stuff. Let's talk the DC Project.
DC Project is the most incredible group of women that I have ever met. It is, just unbelievable resumes and just put together women, beautiful, accomplished, smart young women from all walks of life, all different states. We all have different backgrounds, and I've never met just such a great group. Diana Mueller put this group together, and we've just kind of run with it, and every year it gets bigger and new personalities, which is fantastic. Sometimes not everybody can make it every year, and we get a little bit of a different mix. This year we had a lot of first-timers, which was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
So
how long have you been doing this?
Since the first year that we did the full DC group. So Diana had done kind of a smaller get-together a little earlier in the year, but then the first time that we kicked it off, I was there since the beginning. So.
Wow, how long has that been? Because I've only known about it for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's been about 3 years. I think it's just about there.
Very cool.
So I've done 3 trips down. So
3 trips, that's great. Have there been trips when you didn't have enough representatives?
Well, I think what it is that the goal is 50 women from 50 states.
Right.
The first year, I think New England suffered a little bit. I don't think we had everybody from New England, so we're trying to connect with some of those, but we're definitely getting there. I think we're. And then Brooke Cheney did it with me the first year, so we had 2 ladies from Connecticut.
Oh, very cool.
The first year, and so we're getting there. That's for sure.
Awesome. Now, what do you when you go to talk to a politician in DC? You just go to their office hours? Do you?
We make an
organize,
appointment, right?
You make an appointment?
Sure. So it's a few months out. So a few months out, you start requesting the time slots. I am blessed with Connecticut representatives, which is a trip. So I have Chris Murphy and Senator Blumenthal, or Senator Chris Murphy and Senator Blumenthal.
That's a lot of work right there.
They're lovely.
Oh.
Well, it is. I mean, we go in. It's very professional. It's just times that we don't see eye to eye, and
Sure.
no matter which way we talk about it, up, down, left, and right, we're not going to see eye to eye. So there's some folks that have gone out with ladies from Idaho and other states where they're super warm and welcoming. I mean, my goodness, my last meeting in Georgia this past summer was amazing, and you know, it's so relaxed and comfortable, and they're so accepting. My representatives, we just don't have that commonality that they do in some other states.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't go. Obviously, I didn't go. But yeah, in Massachusetts, they're not gun-friendly people down there.
Not so much. No.
Not so much.
And even at that, I think so. I was in Maggie Hassan's office from New Hampshire this past summer, and even though she's a Democrat, it really was still a very comfortable conversation with her aide. They were, you know, just very warm and welcoming, and thank you for being here. And we really do have very diverse stories of why we're there, and it doesn't necessarily have to be partisan. It's not Democrat Republican. There are certainly plenty of Democrats that support and understand the Second Amendment. Connecticut, we have a little bit more divide than maybe some other states where they still have Democrats that are pro-guns.
It's to me, one of the things that I don't want to say I have a hard time with, but I guess I don't get is being a Democrat and pro-gun, or being a Republican and anti-gun.
Well,
and I'm trying to get away from just classifying people as Dems and Republicans.
Sure, I agree. I think it comes down to whether they're a constitutionalist or if they're not a constitutionalist. And I think you can be a Democrat and still wholeheartedly believe in the Bill of Rights. Or I think, what's the term, a rhino, right?
A rhino, yes. A rhino, Republican in name only.
So I think you've got some of both. So it's not necessarily that it's just a party issue. It's a philosophical issue.
Gotcha. Well, cool. That is awesome. Now, there's some article coming out in a big magazine about the whole...
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's hear about that.
So, Time Magazine is going to be running an article in a couple of weeks, probably within the next 2 weeks or so. I really haven't heard a release date. I think Time's been really focused on the Kavanaugh issue right now, so they're all about that. So hopefully that run date doesn't get pushed, but we shall see. It's an artist from France by the name of JR, and he's coming into it from the outside. I think France has seen tremendous changes, and I think there's some interest there in our Second Amendment rights, which is something that they don't have. And I didn't really get the feel from him when I met him that he had a preconceived opinion on the issue, which was really nice. And I think that even though maybe some of the Time staffers have written a history of articles that may have a leaning, it was nice to work with an artist that I didn't know any political position on. So they were very warm and welcoming, and thank you for being here. And there was definitely some conversation about why haven't we ever heard from the gun people before? My response is we've never been asked to be here before. So
that's a good reason.
So the gentleman that I did my little segment with, who did the interview with, he lives in Manhattan. He doesn't really know a whole lot about gun carrying folks, and he's like, I just didn't know there were so many of you. And he's like, at least close by. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we're a stone's throw. I had my New York State permit for an awfully long time. I grew up there. Still couldn't cross into New York City, so I had to be very careful. But they're not so far away.
They're really not.
No.
I was a gun agnostic when I was young. I wasn't into it, wasn't against it. It just wasn't for me. And once you open up the floodgates, you find a ton of people who are into it.
They're the best people you'll ever meet.
Yes, absolutely. I can't say that enough to people. I really can't. Gun folks I've loaned my guns to people, and had people loan guns to me for teaching and instructing and taking courses and stuff.
The gun community folks will by and large give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, fantastic.
I always tell, so I'm an instructor, and I tell people in class all the time, I say, listen, I tell them a story about a friend of mine who is, she's very liberal, and she was in her mid-30s, and she's like, I can't find my dating advice. Take a class. She took a class with me. I said, you get your class, take your certificate, get a gun license, buy a gun, go to a shooting range, because all the guys that you meet there have passed background checks.
Right, it's very true. It's very true. That if nothing else, that's a qualifying question if going on a date is, do you have your permit?
That was you know, he passed the background check. He's not a criminal.
Right. You know, he doesn't have a domestic, all that good stuff. So
exactly.
Duly noted, ladies.
That's what I always tell people.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, okay, whatever. No, really, it's a good point.
So that's our capital straight ahead. I don't know
Very
if you've
cool.
been there before.
I've never. This is what I know about Hartford. I live on a town that borders Connecticut, and I know. All right, I probably shouldn't say this, but where I live, and there's a very small stretch when I go from one place that I work to another place where I drive maybe a half a mile in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And my attitude is, I'm going to drive as fast as I can.
Get out of here.
Because my permit is not valid there.
I mean, our non-resident permit is obtainable. It's not unreasonable. I mean, it's still intrusive. However, it's possible to get. So it's not too bad. I mean, you know, I live very close to the New York border, whereas there is no such thing as a New York out-of-state permit. So even though I was a New York resident for most of my life, born and raised in Westchester County, I cannot cross that border. It's tight.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue.
We need reciprocity, that's for sure.
We absolutely do. Maybe now, what the hell is that thing I'm riding? It's got one wheel and it's like a. That's crazy.
I don't know. It's like a.
Hopefully, we'll get some video of this.
Skateboard.
It's skateboard with one wheel in the middle.
It's kind of cool.
It is pretty wild. Hopefully, with the recent confirmation of Kavanaugh, we can see some national reciprocity.
That would be amazing.
That would be way cool.
You know, I'm really disappointed in where things are with bump stock right now. I'd say
they're illegal here in Connecticut?
Indeed, they are as of the beginning of this month. So the end of September was the last day that we could possess one here in Connecticut.
Well, you guys are behind it because in Massachusetts we couldn't have had one since February.
It's just ridiculous. And look, at the end of the day, at least reimburse us for them, right? So if somebody has one, you legally purchased it, you legally owned it, you took possession, you
jump through all of the hoops that it takes in order to get one.
Yeah, and honestly, there really wasn't anything to purchasing one. You could just go online and order one. I mean, the thing is a novelty. It's not, it doesn't add to accuracy. It is what it is. But the reality is, folks who own one didn't do anything wrong when they purchased it, and for the government to just say all of a sudden you need to surrender it.
Right, you're a felon.
Or you're a felon. That doesn't seem very American to me. At least grandfather it in, or pay folks back for it. Do something. But, that's just not the world we live in anymore. So.
I get the emails from the company that makes them every. I thought they were done making them.
Slide Fire, I think it is.
Yeah, I got an email from them a couple days ago.
Really? I thought they stopped manufacturing.
I thought they did too, but I still get an email. They're like, "Hey, we've got some. Come get them. Hey, we got some." It's the bump stock thing to me is it's a novelty. I guess the way I see it is this: it is an accessory. It you got to tread lightly on how you say how it works and functions and everything, but it's an accessory. So if somebody, if they're going to go after one accessory, what other accessories are they going to go after?
Sure.
Besides high-cap magazines, which we have a ban in Massachusetts of the post-94 magazines, and I know you guys had one a couple years ago.
Right, so we actually had to register our magazines, which is ridiculous because they're not serialized, right?
Right, so now we have to put a serial number on them?
No, yeah, we did it. So unfortunately, the real hardship, not only the fact that you can't buy a replacement or anything like that, or if you were to buy a new firearm, you can't, even if I'm legally buying a pre-ban, I can't grab a high-cap magazine to go with it. I have a little stubby 10-rounder.
Right.
But for folks that move into the state of Connecticut, let's say their job were to transfer them here and they're a firearms collector, they can't bring it no matter what. If you didn't register it before that date,
you're done.
You're done. So that's always a question that people bring up is, I'm thinking about moving into Connecticut and I own this stuff. How do I register it now? There's no such thing as registering it now.
You don't.
You don't. So that's a shame.
Yeah, that's it's ridiculous.
But man, we could use some more. We need some migration into our state. That's for sure. People are fleeing like crazy, and it's reasons like this.
after a long time, how I know you got into shooting. You're a third generation NRA member, and your father and your grandfather were shooters. How did it kick in with you?
So, I mean, the time that I spent with my dad, when I think back to my childhood, when we would have our kind of dad and daughter time, we were just sitting at the reloading bench. So I was 8 years old, and I was reloading his ammo for him, and, you know, he kind of supervised, but I was the one measuring it out, weighing out the gunpowder, and I would...
Your father trusted you at 8?
Yeah, well, I mean, mind you, he sat right next to me, so it wasn't like, I mean, we were, you know, this close to each other, but he would watch me, and I'd pop the primer out, put a new one in, and that's what we did. Now, you know, the reloading equipment, it pre-measures everything, right? So it's one pump down, and it's all pre-measured and all that good stuff. But, you know, every once in a while, we'd grab a random one and weigh it out, make sure everything was still calibrated right, and keep on at it.
Gotcha. So. Do you still reload?
I don't. I have all my dad's reloading equipment, and
that's cool.
Eager to get back into it. What I don't have a whole lot of these days is time. So, you know, I think when you do Second Amendment advocacy, it's kind of like a part-time job you don't get paid for, right?
Right, it's good volunteer work.
It sure is. You know, it's important and it's necessary, but it is doesn't pay any bills. So it doesn't. It adds a few, but that's about it. So.
Yeah, I never got into reloading. I thought about it for a while, but whatever. It's the time and space.
Yeah, it is.
It's not worth it.
It's a commitment.
It is.
You know, and you're gonna set it up. You need room.
Right, room and time and stuff.
Yep.
Totally. So, what kind of shooting do you like to do?
So I mean, I mostly shoot handgun. I'm cross dominant, so I really struggle on rifle.
Awesome. Me too.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard. People don't understand, and I just haven't put in the time on rifle to shoot with both eyes open on rifle. I can't. It's not my thing. Handgun, I'll nail it every time.
Yep.
I've shot more rounds through than I can even count, but rifle's not my.
Not your thing.
It's not my thing, and I would love for it to be, but let's call a spade a spade. We're not all good at everything, and being cross dominant, man, trying to get my left eye over that stock.
It's going to be an issue. Right.
So
I've noticed this with me. If I shoot with the scope, I'm okay using my right eye. And then if I'm trap shooting, I'll just close my left eye and use my right eye.
Yeah. I need to put in the time to train myself better to just get past it, but I haven't.
Yeah.
So
someday, that's all right. You got time.
I don't have it's funny. I think a few years ago when I wasn't doing as much advocacy, I had a lot more time at the range, right? Mm-hmm. So you'd have a night off, you'd go do that, but now I do a lot more stuff with politicians and volunteering on campaigns and work with CCDL and all that good stuff. So
very cool.
Just not as much range time.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. All right, tell us about CCDL.
So CCDL is the Connecticut Citizens Defense League. It is a legislative action group here in Connecticut. We have an incredible membership of 30,000 individuals, not all Connecticut residents. Our fearless leader, Scott Wilson, he's our president. He does an amazing job keeping things together, and it's a great group of people. Like we said earlier, the gun folks are the nicest people you'll ever meet,
right?
And that's no exception here in Connecticut. So it's a lot of work here, that's for sure.
What kind of stuff does CCDL do?
We have membership events. So my role, I'm on the board. My role is really the events coordinator. So I have 2 big events a year. Mm-hmm. We have the family picnic in the summer, which is awesome. Usually between like 500 and 700 people just kind of come in. We do. We're no joke here. It's there's a lot of CCDL members out there, and they're just awesome people. But we don't have any membership dues, so there's no cost to become a member. You go on ccdl.us and go ahead and sign up and join us. Everything that we do is based on passing around a bucket. We're pretty simple like that.
I was just going to ask, how do you fund all this stuff?
So it's donations. It's passing around a bucket, and then we have a couple fundraisers. So our board members, Michelle and Frank, run the poker run every summer, which is, it's primarily motorcycles. Doesn't have to be motorcycles, but go around and go from stop to stop. We raise some money that way. We're, pretty cost conscientious, so we have to make what we raise last throughout the year, but a lot of it is just passing a bucket and good people. And so what I do at the picnic is I have a raffle. We'll make a little bit there, but it's, we also have expenses as well, keeping, pay to use the meeting facility each month. We have a meeting coming up on Tuesday, second Tuesday of every month, 7 o'clock at the Elks Lodge in Middletown, 44 Maynard Street. So good there.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We roll with it. This is beautiful downtown.
This is, what did it say? It just said historic Hartford. I'm like, all right, historic East Hartford.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. I've really never been in Hartford. I go through here.
It's kind of the way to do it.
Right.
Just go through. Yeah. I mean, coming up ahead, we're heading kind of back down into the Capital Region. The legislative office building. We do it also, so getting back to CCDL, we definitely do a lot of work just getting in front of the legislators, Republican, Democrat. We are not a partisan organization, so regardless of your party affiliation, we want to work with you. We do legislative shoots, so we'll get legislators together, kind of mellow. It's not really...
I always tell people it's to shoot with, not at the legislators.
Right, it's generally a good tip, but we try to get legislators together and bring them out to the range and just expose them and say, hey, this is what a silencer does. Suppressor. You know what I mean? They don't know. They're like, what's a suppressor? So we call it, we let them know this is what a silencer is. And they've heard suppressed, non-suppressed, and what the difference is, so they don't think that it's James Bond,
Right, it's not some movie.
And exactly, so that when the legislation does come across their desk, they're a little bit more informed about it than had we not gotten them out there. And we have had some Democrats come out.
Cool.
And been open to seeing it, to shooting a couple of different platforms, different calibers. And we're there every step of the way. Our legislative coordinator, Ray, he does an amazing job. He is up at the Capitol all the time. Again, we're all volunteers. We don't get paid to do this work, but he's up right there at the LOB, especially when it's during legislative session, making sure people understand this is what this language means. This is what it also would mean to our membership if this passed. This is what else it could be. So when we talk about ghost guns, where does that end, right? So, talking a lot about what that would mean for folks that do manufacture their own firearm and what the implications would be. Or even with the bump stock bill, I gave testimony in Judiciary Committee talking about the way that it was worded originally. Trigger work would have, and I explained, like, I have a little Remington RM380 that had a ridiculously hard trigger pull. I had to get trigger work done on it. The way the bill was originally worded, that would have fallen within the definition of any modification. So we work really hard to make sure that language is as
specific?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or just not pass it at all. That's the goal.
That would be the best choice.
Yeah.
That would be the best choice. Very cool. So for CCDL, I know we did this up in Massachusetts with the Gun Owners Action League. They did an event that was the Concealed Carry Fashion Show, and Amanda's quite the hot potato with those. But that might be cool to do down here.
Yeah, I've thought about it. That's one of the questions that I get a lot of is, how do you carry? And I think for me, everybody's different. There's probably lots of women that are perfectly comfortable with a holster on their hip. I'm not one of them. I wear probably just more fitted clothing. I work in a professional environment. So like today I'm appendix carrying with a Dean Adams corset. There's a lot of options out there for women that can't find that balance of, I don't want to dress in a oversized shirt to cover my gun. But on the flip side, I'd also like to carry. And I think what happens ultimately is a lot of women just stop carrying because they can't find a way to do it well. So yeah, those concealed carry. Amanda Suffolk, man, she's doing some amazing actually gave a speech a couple years ago that was one of my most remembered speeches. She gave a speech in D.C. and she talked about she drew a parallel to the sphinxes in Egypt in the way that their noses and facial features were eroded by the sand, and she correlated that to gun legislation. Is that every bit that comes through is just another little bit that wears away, and it is never coming back. And that speech she gave, like, it just, you know when something just sticks with you forever? I'll never forget. Samantha Suffolk, man, she rocks. She rocks.
She totally is.
So.
Yeah, that would be cool. I did one, I emceed one for the Gun Owners Action League in Massachusetts, and it went really well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Lakeisha, she was in the DC project. She was one of the people there. Mandy Devino organized the whole ordeal, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, we should do it here. We probably should. We'll put that on the agenda. Maybe we'll do a CCDL Women's Concealed Carry Fashion Show. It is a constant question that comes up is, ladies, how are you carrying?
Right.
And to each their own. Some want to carry it in a purse. I don't advocate for carrying off your torso or off your body.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of off body.
That's me. I also have an almost 5-year-old at home, so
that's an issue.
It's different. She's at an age now where she understands what a gun is. I mean, I chipped a nail at the range the other day clearing a misfire, and she asked me what I did to my nail, and I said I did it on a gun. She's like, "Mommy, that's dangerous." And I was like, she goes, but she understands because we talk about it all the time. But when she was 2 and 3, no, and there's definitely women out there that will put a firearm in a purse, and if you put your purse down, it's no longer
that's no longer secure. Right. So. Exactly. Very cool.
It's our Supreme Court, Connecticut Supreme Court.
Wow, nice. Who would have thunk? Here we are. Very cool.
And then back to Hartford. right there.
I thought that was a real person. What have you taught your daughter about gun safety?
Oh goodness, we talk. I mean, from a very, very early age, and this is what my dad did with me. Is that my dad would expose me to it. I remember, and this certainly isn't the way that I've done it, but when I was a kid, and then we'd be watching cartoons in the 80s, and Hanna-Barbera was on, there was a revolver, empty, clear, just sitting there, because he felt that the more that I saw it, the less curious I would be. Sure. And then as I got a little bit older, I'd be watching TV, he'd be like, hold this. I'd be, Dad, I don't want to touch the gun. I don't. So stupid, Dad. Right? But I never had a desire to look for it, to show it to my friends, because it was always there.
It took the mystery away.
Right. So with my daughter, so this is our beautiful Capitol.
Very cool. We're gonna get some video of this.
Yeah, when we do our.
Look, it's a horse's ass. Nice. Sometimes here in the Capitol, there's more horses' asses than there are horses.
So here in this is very true, right? So here on the, I think it's the west lawn, right back there is where we do our rally. So CCDL, we just did a rally this past year. A few thousand folks showed up, and we speak.
Get back on the highway.
If you go that way, you will.
All right. Can we break the law?
You could kind of just go straight.
Don't tell anyone.
Mark Keith Robinson did an intro for us this year.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's such a great guy.
He is.
What I love about Mark is when you talk to him and you get to know him a little bit, he's not really a big gun guy. He's a constitutionalist, which is what we were going back to. It doesn't really matter if you're into shooting sports or if you're into Second Amendment issues, whatever. He's a constitutionalist. So I don't, if I'm not mistaken, and Mark can let me know if I am, but I believe that when he gave the speech that he did
at the town hall.
I don't know that he was a gun owner at the time.
He was not.
Right, correct. I don't think he was, right. So, it's cool stuff like that where you just meet people that have this core philosophy of this is what's right and this is what's American and this is what we do. Mark's one of them. He's a patriot.
I heard him speak at the Heller 10. And I got to speak there too, and then I went to the dinner that evening, and he spoke there as well. And he said he was talking about how the Second Amendment is the right to self-defense. Everyone's got a right to self-defense,
sure
and every animal has some sort of a defense, and every animal has some sort of a predator, and the right to be able to protect that animal. They don't have a piece of paper for it, and it's not given them by government and nature or God or whatever you want to.
Right.
The universe gave that to them. They have the right to be able to protect themselves.
Right. Some method, whether it's they're just fast or if they've got some kind of
stinger,
claws or whatever it is. But I was disappointed I missed that. So the Heller tenure, and Dick Heller, what a incredible person, and I love when I get the handwritten Dick Heller mail.
It's always cool.
In the mail, it's like, Dick Heller, he's sending me mail.
I know it's ridiculous to be that way. But
so I flew back from DC on Sunday night before, and I think it was on a Tuesday night.
Yes.
So I left DC that Sunday before, and I just couldn't get 2 more days away from work to be able to stick it out and go to the dinner. I was really disappointed about it.
Yeah.
So
that was a really cool event. I hate to talk about myself, but Ted Cruz was supposed to speak, and there were a number of protesters.
Oh, for goodness'
that were there. So Ted Cruz decided not to speak, and then Amanda came up to me, and they're like, "We need more speakers," and she came up to me. She's like, "Hey, Charlie, Ted Cruz isn't going to speak. You're taking his place. You're on in 2 minutes."
That's a pretty nice. That's a pretty nice little thing to be like, oh, well, Ted Cruz can't make it, so Charlie, you're
right. So I got to walk around and say, yeah, I took Ted Cruz's spot and spoke on the steps of the Supreme Court.
That's pretty amazing. That's an accomplishment.
It's pretty cool. It's one of those things that wasn't on the bucket list, but now it's checked off.
That's quite a feat. I was lucky enough 2 years ago to give a speech at the Capitol with the DC Project.
Wow.
I mean, we rent, we request our space where we have all Americans have a right to be there, and if they want to organize, they certainly can. And that speech I've gotten so much feedback from on the internet. It's been viewed quite a number of times. But really, what I talked about was this was 2 summers ago, so it was really at the height of right after the Women's March, and kind of where we are right now is just kind of formulating.
Yeah.
And my speech was really talking about the suffrage movement and the women that got us to a point that a group of 50 women from 50 states had a right to be there on the steps of the Capitol. And I said, we don't have to be vile and crass and disrespectful to earn that. We've gotten there, and for me, and everybody's different, and to each their own, but you can still be a lady and have a voice and be empowered. You don't have to choose. You can have it all. So the timing of that was great. And coming back, I was at the Women's March in DC in January of 2016. Is that when that was? 2016?
I think so, yeah.
It was disgusting. It was really disgusting to walk. I mean, I was in the Vietnam Memorial, and there was a young girl there, and she had a radio blaring up on her shoulder. And I said,
what is this, the 1980s?
Yeah, she kind of was. I mean, I don't know, it's retro. I don't know, maybe the hipsters. I don't know.
Right.
The 80s are in again.
And if she does that long enough, it'll be cool again.
It will be. But I had to go walk up to this girl, and she's in her early 20s, and this is a place of respect. Please, turn it off.
Right.
And that was kind of gross.
Yeah, that's a bit nuts. People just don't have a lot of respect anymore.
No.
I hate to sound like Grandpa Charlie, but holy moly.
And then every once in a while, you'll see something that gives you a little bit of hope out there that parents are still raising their kids with some of the virtues that we grew up with. And
absolutely.
Respect but I don't know. We shall see.
All right, so do you spend any time as an instructor?
So I do. I am an NRA certified instructor. I am a little bit unconventional in that way. This is Aetna, which is our insurance industry. It's kind of keeping the bills paid here in Hartford. I am an instructor, and what I do is all pro bono classes. I've never charged for a class.
Very cool.
Mostly if I come across a woman who wants to own a firearm for self-protection. She
as an instructor in Massachusetts, I find it, I don't want to say frustrating or confusing. Confusing might be the better word. That all Connecticut wants you to take a safety class, but then you don't have to. You have to do live firing.
Correct.
But it doesn't say how much live firing you have to do.
No.
So I never know.
No. Okay. So this has kind of opened up a recent conversation 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it has to meet the standards, which typically had always been accepted as the NRA basic pistol course,
and then the NRA changed all the basic pistol.
So that changed. So we've now seen obviously USCCA instructors that are running with that curriculum, yep. And I understand there's people who have put together their own curriculum that has been approved. Mm-hmm. I've kind of stuck with the NRA curriculum. I mean, that's what I was comfortable with, and
right. Everything's laid out for you.
Yeah, I mean,
which is cool.
I think it's just, again, for me, it's what I was comfortable with, and I don't. Again, I'm not running weekly classes, so I'll go several months that I don't run a class because I don't come across somebody who has a need for it that they can't. You know, it's not just any female that could otherwise pay for the class. It's somebody who's struggling to make it work. So we'll do the live fire.
I've had people. What I teach mostly is the home firearm safety class. Mm-hmm. I say it's rifles and shotguns and handguns. Oh my! And there's no live firing, but Connecticut requires some sort of live firing, but it doesn't say how much needs to be done. But it says the basic pistol's good, but then it doesn't say anything else. So I'm one of these guys. I'm like, all right. So if I take someone shooting and I say we shot at a few different guns with a few different calibers, is that going to work? And what I've ended up doing is I've connected with a gentleman down here, and I said, hey, if you want your Connecticut permit, go talk to this guy.
Yeah, so it's not about a time frame necessarily. It's that they're demonstrating proficiency.
Gotcha.
So no, you're not spending 5 hours outside.
Right.
It's inclusive in the NRA basic pistol curriculum.
Very cool. I've talked to some guys that are instructors around the country, and I say, Massachusetts is a very un-gun friendly place, but 4 hours of non-live firing, you get a permit without restrictions, allows you to carry concealed. You carry concealed, and you can go to a gun store, never fired a gun, buy something, carry it out. And I said, you can do that. It's legal. It's not a great idea, but it's legal. And I'm not going to go back and tell the state that they need to, up the requirements.
Let's make it harder on people.
Right. I'm like, shh, mum's the word.
Let's keep infringing a little more.
Totally.
But yeah. Again, it's something that I haven't done as much of. The more entrenched I get in the Second Amendment stuff, the less time you have doing other things. And for me, I think the last class has been probably a year since I've come across somebody that had a financial need.
Gotcha.
So it's not terribly often, but you keep your insurance and you keep your certifications up, because you never know when you'll come across somebody that's in a bit of a jam. So
that's cool. All right, tell us some more stuff about you. We're going to head back to Cabela's. I thought we were heading back to Cabela's.
Oh, you went wrong.
I did. I took 84 west instead of east. I'm like, oh, that's where we have to go. I'm like, no, we're west. We need to go east. So, yeah. Somebody said I should do a segment of me just getting lost.
Hey, I mean, look, when you got 271,000 miles of just
aimlessly wandering around. I always told people, you have to be specific about your goals. And one of the times I realized this is I always wanted to travel for work, but I didn't really mean just stay in the central part of Massachusetts.
Right. Just drive the same roads.
Not quite what I meant.
So,
anyway.
I don't know. What do you want to know? Talked about growing up reloading.
Yes, reloading.
We talked about...
You carry appendix.
Yep, I'm rocking my Dean Adams corset today.
Nice. What do you carry, if I may ask?
I'm carrying a Walford PBKS.
PBKS, very cool.
Love
That's
it.
a 380?
It is a 380.
I thought, French don't let French carry 380s, right?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I've really been hooked on 9mm for a while. I love my 9mm. Sentimental. This is one of my dad's guns.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, so it's just a beautiful gun. Walthers. He loved Walthers. So
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Then it's not a problem.
I'm allowed to keep my 380. Thank you.
Right, like you need my permission. Well, I tell people, I said, I'm not going to tell you what's good or bad for you to carry. I did a class yesterday, and somebody's like, well, is a 22 okay to carry? I'm like, I'm not going to say yes, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
But, when you talk to self-defense people, they say it doesn't put a big enough hole in your bad guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think, for me, and given, women are in some way, but God bless them, there's women out there that are rocking their 45s all the time, and, I don't have a place to hide that,
Right,
so,
you have, how can I see you have a small petite body but that's not like a pervert? That's what I want to know.
So, that's what I really like about appendix carry. I think for me, like I said, if you're in business dress, our clothes are just not meant for hiding guns.
Absolutely. Real quick, do you work in an office for work?
I do, yeah. So I work in an office.
Gotcha.
For me, I just really like appendix carry. I think, everybody's a little bit different in that. I'll do a little plug for Dean Adams. I have no connection or correlation with him whatsoever.
I'll put a little thing on Dean Adams, and people can link to it and check it out.
But one of the things that I love about my Dean Adams corset, I had my dad's belly band. I think he had a regular old DeSantis belly band.
Right, I call it the gun girdle.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's still great for some people, and I understand with men, they're straighter.
Fat guys don't carry appendix.
Okay,
this is what I know about me. Fat guys don't carry appendix.
Dean Adams put this. I've owned my Dean Adams corset for probably about 3 years. It is one of the best made pieces of anything, whether clothing or whatever, that I've ever had. You can wear this thing every day. It doesn't have any wear on it. It's beautiful.
That's cool.
It's just they put together just a really nice, elegant product that is very versatile. And I think one of the things that women sometimes ask me is, well, if you're wearing a corset, there's no trigger guard. Well, Dean Adams has a trigger guard, so you can have a Kydex piece stamped for your gun. That is one-sided, so that way you don't have,
the Kydex is going to be up against your body.
Right, the Kydex is on the exterior, right? So
very cool.
What's up, and I don't use it. It's okay. I don't.
All right.
But they have one for the ladies that are concerned about that. But it's just I've said to so many people, I'm not even kidding when I say I own upwards of 80 holsters. I use one.
Wow.
Yeah. Keep in mind that I inherited my dad's, and so I have all of his stuff that go with all of the guns that he owns, and But I really go back to primarily 2 holsters. Actually, no, I'm not gonna lie. I have 3 that I really like, and one of them is inside the waistband, but it's very rare that I am wearing something that I can rock that. So
yeah, that's totally cool. I was the same way with holsters. I don't have 80, but I do have a bunch for my carry gun. My carry gun is a J-frame, and honestly, after I got the crossbreed, that was it.
Yeah, you like it? Okay.
That was it. Often what I wear is I carry on my ankle because I can wear it to work, and I can take it off and leave it in the car, and then go into work and then come out and put it back on.
That's even tough. Ankle carry is even tough for ladies because we've got the heels and the dress slacks, and you cross your legs. It's not like dudes. We can't. You guys have it easy when it comes to carry. I'm not gonna lie.
Here we go.
Yeah, but girls have it a little bit tougher, and again, there's plenty of women out there that are super comfortable with carrying on their hip, and they don't maybe wear clothes that it's a problem with, or they don't care, right? Maybe they're not in an environment where it's an issue. But I go to a lot of I live on the border of Sandy Hook. I go to moms groups.
Right.
We go to dance. We do all that stuff, so I can't exactly walk in with a 1911 on my Hey girls.
Right. Hey. I am happy to see see you.
So they'd be like run away, like all their kids just flee. But
sometimes that's not too bad. I gotta tell you.
There are definitely days that I'm like, get me out of here. But
right.
But yeah, for me, appendix carry just kind of
it works. Very cool. Very cool.
And nobody knows. Like nobody. Any idea? So.
Mum's the word. Awesome. All right. Well, we are almost where we need to be, and I can't thank you enough. You've actually been on my list for a while of people to contact.
Cool.
I have a list.
Okay.
An ongoing list.
It's like the binder.
It's
poor Mitt Romney, so can't get him.
Right. Mine's a list, not a binder. Binder makes it sound like it's stalky or perverted or something. Mine's a list.
Got it.
A list I keep on my phone. It's a file. And so I did interview a woman from I forget where the hell she's from. But she I'm drawing a blank here. A woman named Tammy that does shots fired jewelry, and she makes jewelry out of spent brass cases.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So,
we did a door prize of some of that at our last dinner.
Yeah.
I don't think it was hers, but it was
right.
Similar. So
yeah, my crazy goal is I want to interview someone in every state.
That's cool.
So I get 2 for Connecticut. Cha-ching.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been great.
Awesome.
All right. So how can people find your stuff? Whether it's CCDL or the DC Project?
So DC Project is through, it's affiliated with A Girl and a Gun, and just Google it, DC Project, Girl and a Gun.
Very cool.
Same folks, and I want to say there's an affiliation. It's not through it. It's a separate organization, but it's often associated.
Gotcha.
And then CCDL.us. Really easy. You can sign up online, get involved. You don't have to be a resident of the state of Connecticut. Just support what we do.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, you should.
The reason I wanted to check it out is I did, like I told you, I've had people ask me about Connecticut stuff, and I'm like, what kind of things do you have to tell people? Like, I don't want to say they're legal questions, but how much does it cost? How long does it take? What can you have? What can you not have?
All that
those sorts of things.
Yeah, all that information is on the CCDL website, ccdl.us. There's lots of commonly asked questions.
Gotcha.
There's even old blog posts. You can just search something. We've got merchandise. One of the great things that CCDL came up with is our sticker, right? So on the back of the
I see them all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here in the Cabela's parking lot. If I were to walk up and down these rows,
I'm going to say that the big white truck over there has one.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. No doubt. I mean, these are our people. And one of the great, I'll tell you, I was merging onto 84 the other day, and I was just in a rush, and I was trying to get out of work, and I was like, let me just get in front of that car. And I saw their sticker, and I was like, wow.
Well, maybe not.
Because I respect them. They're my people. I'm not going to cut you off. I'll cut that guy off with the old Obama sticker.
Right, with the Obama-Biden sticker.
But it's just good people.
You know he's not going to shoot back.
Not that I would expect it to go that way, but it's more of a respect thing. I mean, there's definitely folks that have, pulled over to help each other on the side of the road, or hey, I saw you broken down, or it's just it's a camaraderie, and it's our own billboard kind of, it's our moving billboards, and they're out there, and they're super cheap. They're $5. Just go online, order one, support us. That's how we keep ourselves afloat. Is we sell our merchandise, and we do a couple fundraisers, but we don't ask people to pay a membership.
Very cool. Awesome.
So.
All right. Well, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for being on, Holly.
Anytime.
This has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
So glad to have somebody close.
Yeah, I know.
And
New
relatively
England.
local to New England that does all the cool stuff.
Yep.
All right. So check out the CCDL, Connecticut Citizens Defense League.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the I want to say 50 nifty United States, but the DC Project.
Yep.
And whatever we can do to let people know about you and the stuff you guys do is great. Thank you guys very much.
All right.